All right, welcome everyone to Power Hour. I'm Laura Rogers, this is Joelle Jobson, and our topic today is going to be using Microsoft Copilot to build Power Apps. We're also going to be using the Microsoft Copilot Control in a Power App and the Microsoft Chatbot Control in a Power App. We're going to try out all these new preview technologies. It'll be awesome. So here is the stinger. Okay, so welcome to Power Hour. If this is your first time, we have a link underneath where you are watching us to be able to request to join via Teams, and we chat in Teams. And so we have this lively conversation, discussion, questions the whole time. And that's what makes it fun, is that it's live and you never know what's going to happen. So we're going to have fun building an app with Copilot. Your first assignment this morning is to go ahead and say in the chat kind of some ideas. We've already kind of started brainstorming some ideas for an app we can build. So I've already built one. So I kind of have done some stuff ahead of time, but we're going to also build one from scratch so you can see what that whole process looks like with these awesome preview technologies, all having to do with AI and Microsoft's Copilot, which is their version of AI. Okay. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. And Joelle, I'll see you in the chat. Okay. All right. So here's my screen. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the basically Power Apps. And some of you might see this already in your app. You might, when you go to your Power Apps in your tenant, it's definitely not in GCC yet. But if you see this sort of splash screen looking thing when you go to Power Apps, then that means you can try out Copilot. So let's see, let me look at, we have this chat going on. So here, when you get invited to Power Hour, you'll be in this Power Hour team. It's got a general channel. In the general channel, we have tabs for the last few dates in here I keep. And then when you go to today's date, you can watch the video from here, and then you can click this little chat icon, which will, that's what's going to show you the chat that's going on, and that's where you can kind of join in. So, oh, Corey said they can hear you. I just can't hear you. So I have no idea what I did wrong. Oh, probably because my headset's plugged in. I've never unplugged my audio like in the middle of trying to talk, but let's see. Okay, well, I'll worry about that in a few minutes. Okay, so all right, so y'all have been chiming in with some ideas for just brainstorming, things that we can try out with Copilot. So what I'm going to do is, let's see. So, oh, that's a great question, Lisa. I think I'm not sure of the answer. We'll have to go kind of figure that out. All right, so we've said new employee onboarding. I like that one. End user feedback, trivia app. New requests, help desk tickets. Any other ideas? What do y'all think? You can click the little checkbox to vote. I see somebody voted for help. Somebody additional voted for help desk tickets. I think new employee onboarding sounds cool. Maybe we'll do both. We'll just do help desk tickets first, since that's what you all voted on. So let's see. And you all feel free to keep throwing in ideas and clicking the little thumbs up to vote for stuff in there. All right, so here's what we're going to do. So we're going to type a full sentence of just what we want the help desk app to do. So let's see, create a help desk app that tracks IT issues. I'm just going to say this is an IT help desk, and solutions, and tracks statuses of help tickets. All right, how does that sound? So you just give it a sentence. All right, so here we go. I click the little sort of play the send button, and now it's generating a table. So what it's doing here is it's creating a table So in another thing that I tried with this, I tried telling it I needed to have, basically I needed to have something that had multiple tables. I needed to have different lookups to different tables for different pieces of data. And even if you tell it that, it's still, with this version, with this preview, it's still just going to create one table no matter what you do. So this is the one table that you get. And again, it's preview, so we're going to get one table, we're going to get one screen, and just kind of keep that in mind. So that's, it's very simple for now. All right, so here's what it's created for me. It's even put some data in my table. So it's got an ID for my help desk tickets, an issue name, resolution, I guess it's saying like text of, and it tells you an icon of what kind of column each one is. It's got a status, which looks like it's an option, a choice. Priority is a choice. Assigned to is text. The date created. So now what you can do on this screen is, and it has some suggestions over here behind my head. It tells you that you can type some more and add some more columns. So this is your opportunity to do that. So once you click Create App on this screen, you're not going to be on this screen anymore, and you're not going to be using natural language to change your table and add columns and things like that. From then on, you're just going to be using the regular interface that you're used to. So what I want to do is I want to add a date column for, let's see, I need a resolution date, right? Yeah, all it has is date created. Date resolved. Add a date column for date resolved. And it's thinking about it. Anything else you all think I need to add it? Lisa, I don't think preview technology, I don't think this, what I'm doing right now, requires extra licensing, because I didn't have to purchase anything just to try this out. I know I didn't pay extra or sign up for anything premium. This is just in my Power Hour tenant that I use that doesn't have any cost or extra cost or anything like that. Okay, so it created a date resolved column for me. Now let's see, what other kind of columns might I want? Oh, I need to have an issue description. Add a multi-line text column for issue description. Okay. And it's working on it. So it says you can change, you can even change the current columns. You can change what kind of columns they are too, if you want to. So it says, here's a table. Let's see, did it add it? Ooh, it didn't. Yeah, so the date resolved, it added it. So I'm not sure it didn't actually add that one. You can also change it to, you could say, change the resolution column to be a choice column. You can say, let's see, add a department lookup column with a list of departments to choose from. Sorry about all the typing. Okay. And it's thinking about it. Okay, let's see if it added one. All right, look at that. It even made up some department names for me. Cool. So, Corey, my licensing, I believe, is E1 in here. Yeah, it's just E1. So I'll go ahead, and so this is everything that you're going to do as far as just using the natural language. You can edit your table prop. It doesn't really have anything that you can edit as far as the table properties in here. It just kind of makes it look like you can. And then you click Create App. So that's where it's going to spin up an app for you. And then so you can just, I recommend you all just try this out over in your own tenants. I noticed that when I tried this a few minutes ago, it didn't, I even said that I wanted something to be a person column, and it didn't make it an actual people picker. it just made it a text column. So it's not going to do a people picker like SharePoint. If you tell it to create a lookup though, it will create it as a drop down, like a choice column. So it is, no matter what you do when you're on that previous screen, it's still just going to create one single table and one single screen. So you can see here, I've just got main screen 1, that's my screen. So it builds one screen with a list of all my help desk tickets and a form for people to fill out. So let's try it out. So I can click play, preview this, and fill out a new ticket. And I'm not sure why it's telling me to put an ID in here. That's kind of weird. So you're definitely going to have things that you're going to want to tweak in here. So I pick my department. Obviously, I don't have a resolution yet. That's something that you'd probably, if you're building this as a real world solution, you would not want resolution to be on the new form. You would want that to be something that people are filling out later. They're not going to know the resolution when it's a brand new ticket, right? And then obviously same thing goes for date resolved. So stuff is broken, status, and that's something you'd probably want to set it to default to open. And my priority, medium, sure. And just click, it's got a little checkbox here as my submit button. So then I've submitted it and it's in the list now, and you can see I can edit it from here. And I can click on something else and I can edit it from here. So like this software issue, I can edit it and say, all done. And I resolved it today. And you can kind of edit some of the stuff. So pretty simple. What do you all think? Yeah, that's true. New template options, Marie, are going to make it have the ability to make it look a lot nicer. Let's see. Yeah. So there are definitely a lot of tweaks you'd be making to this. So it's going to have a created by column. It's going to have just some out of the box. I don't think somebody asked about attachments. I don't think. We can go take a look at the actual table, but I don't think it's got the attachment capability. We'll look. So just like when you're using SharePoint as your data source, I've got Dataverse here. I can click Edit Data, and that actually just takes me straight to the table. So it just shows me a couple of columns by default. So once you get past that very first screen where you're using natural language to create your app and to create all the columns and things, once you get past that, then this is the way with the Dataverse table that you're going to be editing the columns and changing them and things like that. So I need to show some more columns here, maybe that just for me when I'm, just kind of changing things. Resolution there. So now if I want to, this is the actual data. So I could just add a new row here if I wanted to just type like a new help desk request. But this is where I can go to any existing column. Like if I want department to be required, I would go click edit column. And then right now it says it's optional, and I can go change it to required. And so this is Dataverse CRM, it's all kind of become the same thing at this point. But you can also do colorful labels if you want to for your choice columns. It's got some options in here. I don't want to spend too much time in this demo, like demoing Dataverse itself, but I wanted to show you all just a couple of quick things that you're going to be able to do in here, add what the choices are, and just change some settings for each column, change what the default value needs to be, make them required. And then you can also just see it's got a new column button. You can even add new columns from here. And when you click edit table properties, this is where you can change the name of the app and just a couple of other things. So I'll go ahead and close that. So, and this is just a form control. So this is just anything you've done previously in a form control. This works exactly like a form control in a Canvas app that we've always used. But this screen that it built, look at what is all this, right? These are containers. So I've got one big container. I think we did a whole other power hour about containers one time. Got one big container on the whole screen, and then they've got a container up here, container, and then inside of the body container, you've got side, right, and main and selected. So it's just got, everything's done with containers on here. All right, let's see. Do you think this is a precursor to be able to create custom colors and other control property defaults? Did it use modern controls? Oh, it did. Let me try that out again. I don't think it used the modern controls. Let me see. I'll do another new one. That drop down box, let me see if that's a modern. That doesn't look like, it doesn't look like those are the modern controls. Modern controls look like, oh, I thought I turned on the modern controls in this app. So yeah, the modern control feature isn't even turned on in this app. So, oh yeah, I did that in the other app, the one that I did ahead of time. No, so these are not modern controls. This app doesn't even have the modern control setting turned on. Yes, it only uses Dataverse. When you're using this Copilot AI generated Power App, it is just going to use Dataverse for now, at least. And it's just going to, no matter what you do, it's just going to create one table and one screen. So from then on, you're going to go, let me show you how to get there again. To make changes to the columns themselves, make them required, things like that, you're going to click here and click Edit Data. And that's how you can get to that table to make tweaks to it. Now, keep in mind that just like with SharePoint as your backend, when you make changes to the data, that's not automatically going to change your form control. So like if I went ahead and made the department column required over in Dataverse, which I just did, that's not going to automatically change my form control. And this is one of those things that you all probably learned when you took my advanced Power Apps class, that this is the required property for that card. So then once you make changes to the data later, these are all things that you kind of have to either manually do them for each column that you change, or just wipe out the whole form control and add it again if you've made a whole bunch of changes to your data. But yeah, once you add a form control, it's not going to, some settings like that are not going to dynamically change, like making it required. Or if I added a new column in that Dataverse table, it's not going to automatically put it on this form. All right, so let's see. Can AI make it responsive? Well, actually, that's a great question, Marie. AI actually did already make it responsive because AI used all these containers. So these containers that it automatically used, those do make it responsive. So it's got a body. So the things in the body are automatically adjusting themselves to fit in the app on the screen. So like we can preview it in different ways here. Let's go look at the Apple iPhone 12 version. So yeah, look at that. See, it put put this other container at the top above the form. And yeah, so it lets you preview all the kind of different ways that it's going to look in with different interfaces. iPad mini. So iPad mini, now it's kind of mashed together like that. So pretty interesting, right? Okay. So yeah, that's one trick and I think we've talked about the concept of containers before in Power Hour, and we've talked about the concept of responsive apps. But that is one method you can use to create responsive apps, is to use these containers, this concept of containers, because the containers themselves will automatically kind of move around and, adjust themselves to whatever kind of screen you're on. Let's see, anything else I missed? Okay. All right, so let's see. You mentioned the new theme options. I don't think those have been added yet. I was just going to take a peek at that real quick. Okay, so that's an example of creating one. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over now to the one that I already created. and I'll talk to you about what, save that, what I asked it to do, and then what it gave me. And then we'll talk about the other concepts in here, how to add Copilot, the Copilot Control in your app. There's actually a control that's totally different than the thing that we've done so far, and how to add the chatbot in your app. Okay, so now I've got this employee registration. That's the one. So a few minutes ago, right before we got started, this is what I asked it to do. I said, create a registration app for employees to register for classes. The classes take place in conference rooms that hold a certain number of people. They need to be able to unregister for classes also. And there's a training department that manages classes. So what I wanted it to do was create a table for class registrations and a table for the classes themselves and a table for the conference rooms. That's kind of like, that's how you'd create a relational database for this concept, right? So what it did was, it created one table, and it created, let's see, I'll go down to it. And then I use the natural language to have it add a couple of other columns, but I'll show you what it does. And just the fact that it just creates one table, that makes it hard for the AI to be able to have, it's not doing multiple tables. So everything that the employee is filling out is going to be just in the one table. Now, I added this screen because I was trying out different things, and I wanted to show you all, have a place to navigate to all of them. So this is the screen that the AI created for me. So after the AI created this app, I went and added a couple of other screens. So here's my employee registration, and I click new. I want to register for a class. I'll just put Joelle in here. And see, this is the thing about registering for classes, is the person filling out the form to register for a class would not be typing information about who the instructor is or what the capacity is for the room. So those are all things that would really just need to be in other tables. So I'll put George and class C. See, the max capacity, that's not something an end user would need to fill out. And also the dates for the class, that would be something that would be stored in the class, the information about the class itself. So the employee should just really be picking what class they're taking, and then possibly what room they want to take it in. But yeah, registered would probably need a default to yes. So you can see that there are a ton of things that you'd be tweaking for any one of these, but at least it kind of gets you started. I love that now I don't have to spend all that time creating all those containers. So even if I wanted to just delete the Dataverse table and create a SharePoint one and put the form control in there based on the SharePoint data, I've got all these containers created for me. So that does save you a good bit of time. Look how nice and neat this is, right? And it gives you ideas too. It gives you kind of a template of all the containers that you could create for yours. So just like with all the other types of templates that Microsoft provides with Power Apps and with Power Automate, it gives you ideas. At least it gives you kind of a starting point to brainstorm, to get ideas, to see how things are done. So that's another really useful thing about these apps. Okay, so that is my employee registration concept. And then when I let's go look at the table that it created for me. And here are my employee registrations. So like I went in here later and made the class name required. So it's got a conference room that's a drop-down box, blah, 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 blah. So you kind of get the idea. All right, and you can also search for them here in this box. Okay, any questions about the, can you move controls into a container? So what you're gonna do, Lisa, is like this little house icon that I added. This was not here when it generated the app. So when I clicked on here, notice that, can you see this? Let me see if I can zoom in. It's at 150, I think that's good. Notice that when I hover over and try and drag like the side of a label here, it's got a little red X. It won't let me do it. So all I had to do was I just put my cursor in this container up here because I wanted to add this icon. So then, and I'll just go add another one real quick. Insert, and I'll put a 3D printing icon. So by default, it puts it over here on this side of the container. And then see what it has this reorder thing when it's in a container, which is slightly different than just like not in a container. So what I do is I say I want to move it left, and then it moves it over here. So if I want to, and then I had to change the colors, the background color and the color. But it put it in the container. So now this is already going to be responsive. It's already going to be in there in relation to the other things. And like when I change it to a different thing, it stays next to it. So when you're using these containers, you don't have to worry about having things line up next to each other because they just automatically are. All right, I'll delete that. Okay, so that's my employee registrations, and then I went ahead and created this home button that takes me. Oops, I didn't make my welcome screen responsive. Let's see, I just want to use my window. There we go. So now let's go look at what I did with the Copilot Control. So I went ahead and just created a whole other screen for this. So what it's going to tell you is, the idea behind the Copilot Control is that you can allow this is for your end users. So the Copilot thing that we did a few minutes ago when we created the app, that was just for you, the app creator, for it to spin up an app for you. But this Copilot Control is for the end users to consume and use. So what you could do is you could take this and put it just like, you can put it here with your form, like over on the side, if you want to have a really obvious place that people can have to go ask questions. But the Copilot Control, the purpose is to ask questions about the data. And I've put references. Let me just point this out real quick. It kind of shows you on the post tab here in this Teams that we're using. I put, when you go to, let me maximize that. Post, where's that little information? I had the little information. Anyway, this is pinned. So I've got the resources here. So this is adding the Copilot Control, the thing that I'm talking about right now. So it's got like 4 things in here that you can use to dig into the things I've been showing you today. Okay, so the first thing it's going to ask you when you add this Copilot Control, first of all, you have to go into settings and upcoming features, and you have to add, let's see, where was it? Copilot, there it is, Copilot component. So that's going to let me insert the Copilot component, and it's got that little icon that looks like, see, over my head, looks like a little kind of a swirly thing with a play button in the middle. And so you have to turn that on. So usually when I turn on a setting like this, I go ahead and save my app and go back out and go back in to see it then work. So then when you go to the insert screen, classic Copilot, it says it's preview. Also, Lisa, you were asking about this. It says it's also premium. So the little light bulb icon means that it's in preview. And the little diamond icon means it is premium. So that is going to cost a premium license to be able to use that. And most likely, is usually the case, it's going to cost a premium license for every single person using the app. So it could get, if you just have a normal Canvas app with SharePoint as the back end and everything like maybe that's what you've been doing. If you add this, it's going to add a cost for all the users that are going to be using the app. All the users would then need to be licensed to be able to use premium license. But if you have that, and if that's part of what your organization has purchased, then you get to have this Copilot Control. Let me show you what it does. So you connect it to a data source. So the purpose of this is for end users to ask questions about the data. So in this case, it is employee registrations for classes. So you tell it a data source. So you're picking a data source from your list of data sources. And then I have this one that I was using, this Dataverse one that I was using for registrations. So you pick a data source, and then once you pick a data source, it's already telling me, suggesting questions based on the data source. So it says, here's some questions you can ask me. What is the maximum capacity of room 4? How many people are registered for Class C? What's the average registered capacity of all the conference rooms combined? Really interesting, right? So this is where you can figure out information about your courses and about the registrations, etc. So it's kind of like giving you some analytics in a way. So I'm going to go ahead and preview that and try it out. So how many students are registered for Class C? And you can just say, oh, it's behind my head. Let me move it. Let me just move the control over. There we go. Okay, it says there are 9 students registered for Class C. So then it says, so how many total students are registered? Six students registered. So what if I went over to that other app that we created, and I'll show you how to add this. I'll show you how to add this from scratch. Now that you've seen what it can do, we'll go to the Help Desk app and add that Copilot component and just show you kind of what it looks like to set it up. Because I had already put it on there. I had already, set it up for you. But I want to show you that kind of what that whole process looks like. I'm going to add a new screen just to be able to have a clean slate, a clean place to put it. And then I'm going to go to my settings. Where do my settings go? There we go. And upcoming features. And it is the Copilot component. And I'll just tell it to add the Chatbot control component and the modern controls as well. And let's see. So I haven't restarted my applet yet. Let's just see if Copilot is already in there. Yeah. So I didn't have to save and exit out. So as soon as, this is the control I just showed you. So as soon as I add it on my screen, it just says, okay, well, what's the data source? I don't think it said there were 9 students in Class C. Let me see. Oh yeah, it said, that is weird. So it's got some, look, it says AI generated content may be incorrect. So see, I didn't even notice that. Thank you, Corey. Yeah, so I think it did some math wrong right there. Yeah, 9 registered for Class C. I don't even think I have 9 records in that database. And 6 students. I think there are 6 records. So that one's interesting. Yeah, that is wrong. Thanks for pointing that out. That's funny. Okay, so now I've added it here, and all I have to do is start. It says, what is the highest priority issue? What is the most common issue? So notice when I add this control, it's immediately suggesting, it's looking at my data already, and it's immediately suggesting things. And it does suggest that you use Dataverse for your data for this. I'm not sure what it would look like or if it would work differently if it was SharePoint data. But let's see, let me go look at this real quick at my other screen. And I've got network issue, printer issue. I can just say how many printer issues are there? Something like that. So let's see, how many printer issues are there? There's 1 printer issue. Okay. So that is how the Copilot control works. Do y'all have any questions about that one? And do you think it would be useful for you to be able to divulge information about your data? I don't know if you'd necessarily be doing that in the same app, because I don't know if that's maybe a different role of person that's going to be needing to know the answers to those questions. Like all the students registering for apps registering for classes wouldn't necessarily need to know that, or employees opening help desk tickets. I don't know if they would necessarily need to know that, but definitely the management. These are kind of things I think that maybe management would like. But yeah, you could use this, however you want. You could just put it on the same screen with the form and let people ask questions there. Oh, you know what you could do? So think about the classes themselves. So in the real world, the best practice to have classes and registrations would be to have a whole separate table in your database for classes, like the names of the class, the dates, who the instructor is, what the class is about. So what you could do is you could point your chatbot to the table that has the classes in it with all their names, descriptions, and all that. And then the students, before they register for a class, they could ask the chatbot questions about the classes, right? So there's one idea. What do you think? It's pretty cool. Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea, Lisa. It's a good way to bypass Power BI for quick and dirty queries. Yeah. Nice. Okay. So let me know if you have any further questions about that control. It doesn't have that many settings. I go back over here. It's got, here's what I did is I gave it a title here, and I gave it an introductory message and a placeholder, just these little things over here in the settings. But besides just picking what the data source is, I just kind of added that text, which is not, you don't even have to do that. So yeah, and then you can even, you can refresh it if you want it to start over, and now you can see my little welcome things and the little suggestions again. Is there a way to get an export of this help desk app just for layout ideas? What you can do for layout ideas is you have layouts just when you're creating a new screen. So they have layouts built. I don't think the templates necessarily have layouts in them, but they have layouts here. One way you could generate one of these yourself is you could just generate an app. Every single app that you're going to generate with the AI is going to have this exact same format. And then you could literally select these and copy them and paste them into another app. So yeah, that's one thing you can do. Or you could just use just some of these layouts that it provides. Just anytime you're creating a new screen, they're right there. And this sidebar one looks very similar to the one that we're doing right now. All right, great question. Okay. Yeah. So you can go to the AI screen and build one. I'm not going to export this, but you can try out Copilot and then just let it generate one for you. Okay, so one more thing that we're going to talk about is the chatbot. So what I did is I went to another screen here, and let me move this over, and I inserted, and you can go from the insert menu here, the chatbot preview. So this one is also preview, and it is also premium. That's that little diamond. So the chatbot is a premium control. So what I can do with the chatbot is you actually have to connect it to a Power Virtual Agent. So whereas the Copilot is you're asking it questions about a table, and it already sees the table of information, already knows about the data, and there's nothing to configure. The difference is that the chatbot is going to be, you actually have to have created a Power Virtual Agent first. So let me send you all the link to that. I'll put that in the resources here. That's powervirtualagents.microsoft.com. And that is where you can just start for free. And it talks you through signing up and creating a Power Virtual Agent. So here's what I did. Now we already did I think we did a power hour about Power Virtual Agents before when it first came out. Yeah, we did. So I didn't spend any time in Power Virtual Agents configuring anything in particular, but in the real world, that is what you would have to do. So the Power Virtual Agent is going to be, you're going to spend time thinking about what questions people are going to want to ask it, thinking about what the response is. So it does require a good bit of work to set one of these up, because you have to kind of program like a sort of a workflow of when they ask this, ask them this, and when they answer this, ask them this other thing. And so you'll have to define all that stuff. So I created just a sample one without defining anything. So it actually has some sample topics built in. So it's got like a lesson. It says, here are the phrases that people might ask. And then here's some examples about like the way it could go when they ask these questions. So I'm going to say, find a store. So I'm gonna try this one out. So what I did in this app was I inserted the chatbot control. And then when you insert the chatbot control, it asks you which chatbot you'd like to select. So you actually have to have already created this chatbot, this Power Virtual Agent chatbot ahead of time, because it just asks you to point to which chatbot you want. And then when I first tried to insert it and I first tried to pick this chatbot, it was grayed out. So you actually have to publish. You have to go through this publishing process and publish your chatbot before it's going to let you add it into your Power App. So I did have to publish this. So once I published it, then it was available for me to, then I just basically just said Power Hour Chatbot. I just said the name of the chatbot and I just clicked it. And then that's all I had to do was set this up, was just add the control and tell it which chatbot to go to. So this is the chatbot. So now let's see, what was I going to ask it? Go to my topics that are built in here. Find a store. So I'll go try this out. Hello, I'm Test Power Hour July. How can I help you? Find a store. And then which location are you interested in? And then I pick Seattle, our Seattle store, blah, 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 blah. It says an address. Did that answer your question? Yes. And then it's got this, basically it's got a program that anytime you get to the end of your conversation, it's going to ask the person to rate the conversation. Can I help you with anything else? Yes. What time do you open? And then it's got the Redmond hours or blah, blah, blah. It tells you what the hours are. Did that answer your question? No. Sorry, it wasn't help better. Would you like to try again? So it's got some little pre-programmed in routines there. So let me go to the, see if I can zoom in on that one. Oh yeah, that's, okay. Lesson 3 is going to be buy online or buy product or purchase item are going to be like the phrases that people might type. Then I'll go back over here and I'll say buy online. To what state will you be shipping? I'll put Alabama. There will be an additional, oh, it's doing a calculation for me. That's pretty fancy. What item are you interested in purchasing? I think I will, let's see, gaming computer. And it says, I'm adding a gaming computer to your cart. So that's pretty cool. So then, yeah, sure, 5. That's awesome. Nope, all done. All right, so that's what the chatbot inside of a Power App looks like. And again, it's just a control you can put. I just put this by itself on its own screen, but you know, you can just stick that anywhere you'd like in your Power App. Let's see, Annette says, is Copilot to create an app as a premium connector with a Copilot Control? No. So Copilot to create an app, let's go to the main. That one actually doesn't say here if it's premium or not. The Copilot Control and the chatbot control, those are premium controls in the Power App. Does that answer your question? So, but in this one, I'm not sure if it's premium. Well, it creates a Dataverse table for you, and then it says your organization needs to have Dataverse in order to use this. So I think that if you roll that out in the real world, all the end users using the app would probably have to have licenses to be able to use Dataverse, and which is a premium connector. Oh, that's pretty funny, Lisa. Yeah. Chatbots can be annoying when they're not programmed correctly, or because basically a human is the one going in here and setting this all up. So Microsoft's been adding more and more AI functionality to things like this. I think that, see, there's a little right here. See this little edit with Copilot right here at the top right inside of Power Virtual Agents. We should just do a whole other Power Hour about Power Virtual Agents. When I click Edit with Copilot, then it gives me the ability to use natural language to tell it what I want Copilot to build in my Power Virtual Agents, in my chatbot. So yeah, see, it's got examples. It's got a little box for you to type what you want it to do. Yeah. Thank you, Nick. That's kind of what I was. It's kind of what I was thinking. It's not premium to try out, but because it's in preview, that's the key, right? But it can only be used in environments that have a Dataverse database on the environment. So yeah. All right. What, any other questions about, so we went over, created my little welcome screen. We went over the app that basically that Copilot created for us, the AI. And then we went over the chatbot, and I didn't create a home button on that screen. And then we went over the Copilot Control. And we talked about what they all are. I gave you references in the chat there on the post tab. And we also talked about how to turn on those settings in your app to be able to try them out. And these are all in preview. All right. And next week, this is going to be pretty exciting. Next week, drum roll, is going to be, and every time we start Power Hour for the last couple of months, I would say, yeah, we've been doing this for about 10 years, but next week is actually the 10-year anniversary. So let me flip back over. Joelle, oh yeah, Joelle's not even in there anymore. It's okay. So next week is the 10-year anniversary, the actual anniversary of Power Hour. Can you believe that? We're so old. And so we'll do something, we'll have a t-shirt giveaway during Power Hour for those of you when you join, and do some fun stuff and talk about maybe a little trip back memory lane about the older Power Hours when we first got started. So it'll be fun. I will see you then. And in the meantime, you can go to iwmentor.com if you want to know when our next Power Hour is going to be. And I don't know why that's taking so long. There we go. You can go to the schedule button at the top, and then that's going to tell you, look, our next Power Hour is July 26th. All right. I am looking forward to seeing you all there, and you all have a good afternoon. Thanks for tuning in.